Kazuma Kobori, thanks very much for joining us. What I believe is evening in your time zone. Whereabouts in the world are you, mate, and what brings you there?
I am currently in LA, just practicing the week before US Amateur. So found a family that was kind enough to let me stay for the week. So yeah, practicing here.
Brilliant. And you've just played a tournament recently in the last week?
Yeah, so I just played the Western Amateur in Chicago.
Brilliant. And I understand it's been a pretty full-on last 6 months, full of travel for yourself, having played here in New Zealand, before obviously in Japan as well, and the last several weeks over in the United States. What's been some of the events you've been taking part in, and any kind of particular highlights from your travel over the last 6 months?
Yeah, I think there hasn't been many highlights, but there's been a lot of learnings, which is good. And yeah, played quite well at the Southern Amateur. Got T20 there, but just playing with guys out here has been quite a privilege actually.
Brilliant. And you had a pretty notable performance in Japan as well, didn't you? With the tie for six on the Asian Pacific Diamond Cup in that Japanese tour. Was that a pretty awesome experience?
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, I played with Asian. It was an Asian tour and the Japanese tour co-sanctioned. So yeah, I played with the best in Asia. So that was quite cool.
We're all pretty excited over here to hear a few weeks back of you naming as part of that New Zealand team to compete in the Eisenhower Trophy in France end of the month, alongside James Hyde and Sam Jones. He was able to let us know a little bit more about how that came about, and potentially had a little bit of insight into you making that team before it was announced. How did that all go down?
Yeah, yeah. I was a bit early to know because I needed to know what my plays were before I left the US, whether I go to Paris or if I go back home. So I kind of knew well ahead of time that I was playing, but no, it should be. Got two other great players from New Zealand, so it should be a good time.
Excellent. And of course, the event's being played at the Golf National and Golf de Saint Nom British, if I pronounced that right, in France, near Paris.
Yeah,
How much do you know about those two courses, and have you been able to do much prep for playing at those courses?
yeah. So they had the Ryder Cup there back in 2018 or something like that. So yeah, just watching YouTube videos of that, and Jay Carter, the national coach, sent me a few. They call it, what is it called? It's basically like a GPS map of what each golf course looks like, generated from Google Earth, and yeah, just been checking that out, and hopefully I have somewhat of an idea of how to play the course when I get there.
Awesome. And are the teammates all over there at the moment, or are they travelling from New Zealand? You guys all meeting at a certain point over in France together?
Yes, so Sammy's in Atlanta right now. So I'm flying to Atlanta and then flying with him to Paris. Jimmy just played the Western and he's gone back home. He's, I think, arrived in New Zealand today. Um, so yeah, I'll meet him in Paris on the 26th, I think, of August.
Yeah, very exciting. And we see there's 72 teams from all over the world taking part, so a huge event. Is there any big names that you're looking forward to sort of testing yourself against in the field?
Yeah, I don't really know who's playing quite yet, but I know Kaden Nakajima from Japan pretty well, and then he's playing in that, so looking forward to catching up with him. I'm sure the American team is going to be very difficult to beat because they are always just very good. But yeah, just looking to see, hopefully play well, and then when I do play well, I just kind of want to see where I'm at, because that gives me the most clarity moving forward.
Yeah, naturally. And of course, this event marks the sort of 30th anniversary for New Zealand's Eisenhower Trophy victory in '92. So, how does it feel to kind of be walking in the footsteps of some of that great Kiwi team, and playing an event of this scale must be pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Kind of gives us hopefully an indication that we're on the right track yeah, accomplishing what they have post Eisenhower. So yeah, really looking forward to the opportunity.
Awesome. And so, following the conclusion of the Eisenhower, what does the next 6 months look like for Kazuma Kobori? What's in the plans?
Yeah, so through this trip, I kind of realized where my game was at, and I don't think I'm quite ready to take the next step onto the professional golf. So I'm gonna go back to play Charles Tours in New Zealand. There's four of them in a row. I'll go play the Asia Pacific Amateur in Thailand this year, so that's in November. And then if I do feel comfortable, I might play a Asian Tour Q School, but that's really I'm not really in a rush to play professional golf anytime soon. I think there's still a lot more to improve on before I start playing for money. So yeah.
Fair enough. So I can expect to see you potentially in the New Zealand shores for a few months at the back end of the season.
Yeah, I'll be back in NZ. Hopefully play the interprovincials actually, if I can make that work. It'd be quite cool.
Brilliant. I'm sure all the red and black fans will be happy to hear that tonight. Just want to take a step back now, if I could, and sort of have a look around your last couple of years and get a few insights from you, if I could, around what you've had going on. So a lot of young players in our region have their own ambitions in the game and contemplating what's the best pathway to take for them, considering, whether it's the overseas route in terms of the college system or turning to professional, all those types of things, some of the considerations you were just discussing then. Are you able to share any of your thoughts around the decisions you have made in the last couple of years in that space? Obviously, could have been impacted a wee bit by the COVID situation, limiting a few of those opportunities offshore potentially. But was it a conscious decision for you to sort of stay here in New Zealand and persevere studies and the amateur game for a wee bit longer?
Yeah, it's a very interesting topic, that. I can only really say what I've done and why I've done it. So basically, when I was 17, I won the NZPGA. And then through kind of that, and then after coming second at the NZ Stroke Play, I got myself into the New Zealand Academy. At which point I kind of weighed up the options to either go college in the States or stay in New Zealand and receive support from the New Zealand Academy. I chose the latter, and in an ideal non-COVID world, I would have played this series of events back in 2020, and then I would have done it again in 2021, and then I probably would have done it this year, and then I would have turned pro. Unfortunately, life doesn't really work how you want it to, and now I'm set back 2 years, but I think there's a lot of benefits going to college as well. I think college or no college, you definitely have to get out of New Zealand. Not get out of New Zealand, but go play golf in the States or UK, because these guys are good, and I haven't quite realized that until this trip. So yeah, that's the best advice that I can give.
I appreciate that. It's good insight for our young players. And just thinking about that Canterbury scene a bit more, obviously you've been a big part of Canterbury teams over several years, representing Canterbury at age group level for the first time in 2016 as a 14-year-old, and then being picked for the men's team in 2018 at 17 years of age, and then being in the team ever since. Are you able to talk to any kind of highlights you've had whilst representing red and black?
Yeah, so winning the interprovincials in 2020 was definitely a highlight. But yeah, played Cambridge back in, I think that was 2016. Might have been 2018, I'm not sure. But that was definitely a highlight. Junior golf has its different, it's a bit more casual and a bit more fun. So I definitely miss those times.
Yep, for sure. And just thinking back about that 2020 campaign and the championship victory, obviously, first time in 20 years Canterbury managed to win that event, and we didn't quite get the opportunity at last year's prize giving to celebrate that. But obviously that was an event that you went through and got player of the tournament as well. So it's obviously some happy memories there. Do you have any kind of memories of that last round and bringing it home and the actual matchup you had?
Yeah, that was a tough match. I played my teammate for Eisenhower, James Hydes, in the final. But yeah, no, I was 3 down very late. I was 3 down, 5 to go, and then somehow clawed it back to win a match. So it was a bit of all a bit of a blur, but no, I'm glad that I could help win it for the team.
No, absolutely. And a few bragging rights potentially going into the Eisenhower camp with James there as well. But yes, we're very proud of what obviously you've achieved in the game, and great to see a young player from Rangiora Golf Club mixing it with the world's best in a few weeks' time, and really cool to see. It's also potentially worth mention too around your older sister Momoka, a Canterbury player we're really proud of as well, who's recently turned pro and doing really well for herself over the last 6 months in the Australasian Tour, and then a couple of wins on the Europe LET Access Tour as well. Have you managed to catch up with Momoka at all, and perhaps will you get a chance to catch up with her in France in a couple of weeks' time?
Yeah, sure, hope so. But she's playing the real deal, playing for her life, if you will. So I don't really want to get in her way. So, but yeah, hopefully if we can catch up, that'll be good.
Great. Well, it's been great chatting with you, Kazuma, and really appreciate you sharing your time with us this evening, and obviously a fair bit of travel today and joining us. But from all of us here in Canterbury, we wish you all the best in France at the World Amateur Team Championships in a few weeks' time, and we'll be all watching on and sending our support from afar.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Cheers,
Appreciate
Kazuma.
it. Thank you.